Well, waiting for it. I'm going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1.
I hated this. The whole experience. Out of all the movies, Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse. My name is Hoppocalypse, and I just realized the dice I usually roll for when we decide who goes in what order for stuff is in my basement because I played Call of Cthulhu this weekend.
How did that go?
Chaotic, so very fun.
Yeah.
We didn't really
Call of Cthulhu yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't really understand the best way to partition our skills. And I think I did the mistake of putting too much across too many skills, so I wasn't, like, great at the things I wanted to be good at. I was, like, okay at everything, which meant that I could never roll less than a 50.
Yeah, I honestly, the more I play Call of Cthulhu, I think it is one of the best, like, games, like, tabletop RPGs to play, and even run. I might have a whole podcast for it. but yeah, it's the more I look at it, where it's like it helps to be like choose two rather than be like a jack of all trades. Be like choose 2 or 3 or like 4 skills that you want to excel in.
And dump everything in those, yeah.
Yeah. And still like get like a little spattering across there, but yeah, it's, I don't know, I'm stressing out my players right now in the game.
Yeah, we just did a one shot, so I didn't necessarily get too far into, like, you know, long term effects of what we were doing. But yeah, and then your Itisdpayne.
Yes. Am I don't know.
Are you perhaps a man chemically mutated with a microphone and headset?
A boy can dream. Or a man can dream. No. I'm not.
Don't worry, that's on topic with the movie we watched this
what
week.
I also didn't do is find Christmas facts, so I'm just going to scroll down until I see the first snowman-related fact on here.
I think very valid.
But let's see. Wait a second. This one works, I guess. The Disembowelling Christmas Witch. In Eastern Europe, one of the stories told to children is about Frau Percha, or the Christmas Witch. She has 2 faces. A nice face that she shows to nice children, and a scary face she shows to bad ones. She comes into homes on the 12th night of Christmas and leaves a piece of silver in... Hey... I'll be nice. Silver's expensive. I'll take a piece of silver in the shoes of nice children. But for bad children, she slits open their bellies, takes out their organs, and replaces them with pebbles and straw. As if kids don't have enough trouble sleeping on Christmas Eve.
This also sounds like it could have been related to rare exports.
Yeah.
Which would have been out by now, right? Because we're caught up. Now we're... All the episodes before.
Yes, we're now caught up. Yeah. So...
For anyone that's hopping in or has been jumping between episode and episode, we've been recording these all over, scattered, because we had guests and we wanted to make sure to give our guests plenty of time before we were like, hey, last minute, we got to get this ready. So some weeks we were like, have we watched that yet for the audience? Because we have in real life.
Yeah, but now we can say whatever we want.
Except for the musical one.
True. Okay, yeah. Which we already talked about a ton. Also, I found a snowman one called All Those Poor Snowmen. Released just as just a song before a hit TV special, Frosty the Snowman, became a beloved Christmas character. Unfortunately, Frosty the Snowman comes along with the idea that snowmen are actually alive and children have to watch them melt every spring.
Very fitting for this movie.
Yeah, that's kind of...
It is also pretty twisted for children to think about. Because we did watch Frosty the Snowman movie before, and they were like, Frosty, what's going to happen to you when Christmas is over? He's like, I'm going to be dead. And they're like, oh no, should we take you to the Antarctica? And he's like, okay, I'll kidnap a bunch of children and take a train and hope that we end up in Antarctica.
Is Frosty the Snowman a millennial? I'm gonna die. What? No, says the rest of like people.
The other 5-year-olds.
Yeah, it says the younger generations, no, you can't die. And
They're
the
like
older
this.
people, no, you can't die. You gotta pay taxes. What?
You guys got rid of all the Social Security, though. And they're like, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
Buy houses.
Die so we can buy houses. Okay, well, this is probably getting the explicit warning.
It's fine, because this movie is explicit, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think if there was any fun little tidbit that I wanted to share, but all tidbits around the time we were recording this, we kind of hashed out a ton before recording, and I think we're both okay not going back down that for at least an hour or so that we record this.
What I will say is I did recognize one of the actresses in this movie, and I looked up what else she's in, and she's in like Scary Movie and American Pie, and I was like, it would make sense that this
Which
has
one?
her, the girlfriend, the one that gets
Yes.
the least comfortable death in the whole movie. But yeah, on the Wikipedia it says this is her film debut, and I was like, I guess it makes sense you would go from this and end up in like scary movie franchise. Yeah.
She's in Love Actually as Harriet, aka the sexy one. That's what it says on IMDb. I'm looking at her IMDb right now. A lot of her movies are around the average.
She's in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. She's in 13 Ghosts, which I've been meaning to watch at one point. Just haven't found. Yeah.
She's in Chris Brown Next to You featuring Justin Bieber's music video. I didn't know that was recorded on IMDb. Yeah. I don't know. According to some of the other movies that we watched, some of the actors. She's in the Twilight Zone series. One episode, the new one.
Oh, the new one, yeah. I haven't gone back to... So, during this month, Strider and I were watching Twilight Zone from the beginning. That was fun.
Yeah, I'm on a path.
She was in Baywatch, apparently.
The old one or the new one?
96.
Yeah, I think that's when the TV show came out.
Yeah, I don't remember what year that came out. She was in the 70s show for 9 episodes. I think I recognize her from that 70s show as well.
I think I recognize her from Scary Movie because I watched Scary Movie. I'm trying to see who she was. Buffy Gilmore.
She's on the cover poster, the front right.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. I will say, before we get into this, I thought of a little something because you know that and I think I said on the podcast that I'm getting rid of a lot of my. Well, at this point, I've gotten rid of all my streaming services except for Amazon because I do like Prime. But then I was looking around and I saw that they had a deal for 3 Blu-rays for like, I'm like, huh, I might have to get them, which is now like building up the case for me to move my TV into my bedroom so I would actually use my TV, which would mean I would get another bookcase for storage, which means this would probably turn more into something that looks like a set rather than storage. But what this all started off was they had The Thing for like less than $10. So I got that, and then I was like, what else is here? And that's when I saw they had Escape from New York and They Live for also like, I don't know, I think less than 15. And I'm just like, well, these are two movies I eventually wanted to watch. So, but yeah.
Solid choices.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that, and yeah, that's not part of the podcast. But yeah, I'm slowly
Fun
collecting
facts.
things. Yeah, where I'll be like, I was like, I did that, and then it was also the same like month where I bought the record player and everything, and I'm like, I want to get this record and this record. I'm like, hold up.
One step at a time.
Any physical media, there's now a budget, no more than $50, like $50 per month for movies and records, because it's like,
It's really easy to be like, I need a collection, and then be like, I don't have time for all of these right now.
yeah, well, like the record works a little bit because it's just, I put that on. Yeah, I found that it really helps when I'm cooking and there's like
Some ambient noise.
yeah, like, and it's not like a YouTube video playing, because it's like sometimes you'll be watching a video and they're like, what did they say? I'm not happy that it was that loud. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the life and habits of me. That's called Come to the Stream. But yeah, we're here. We're doing our holiday horrors. What was the last episode that would have aired? Puka.
Oh, okay. It is interesting that so it went rare exports, Puka, then this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is how I will describe it. Just this.
I would claim that this is the most Christmassy feeling movie we've watched so far.
I guess it does have the proper
It has the proper
vibes.
setting. Yes. It
implies Christmas the best.
Yes, I actually feel like we're in a Christmas season where Rare Exports, like, it was Christmas, but it also felt like it was so far north they don't see grass for 9 months out of the year.
And then Puka is like time jumpy. So like it is Christmas is important, but it's not like the main theme of it.
So
because like other than this, Black Christmas is the only one that felt like Christmas to me. But again, Christmas wasn't the focus. It was just kind of like the reason that people were not all in the building at the same time.
Yeah, that's what made sense. And then Necrotronic just didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I was okay, I'll wait until we start talking about the movie. Are you ready? I have my D100 app. It's not an app that only rolls D100s. I have my dice rolling app, and it has a D100 option ready for me.
Should I roll Stinky Cheese, or should I roll the Ocean Die?
This episode is airing
November...
pretty close to Thanksgiving, so maybe...
November 20th.
So what's your most Thanksgiving-themed dice? Is it the cheese?
Oh, this is the week of Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. I guess we also have to find out, are we recording on Friday? For Black Friday tradition? I'll roll Stinky Cheese. Because if it's anything like last Thanksgiving, I'll be at home.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I never host Thanksgiving. I just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah, well, last year I didn't get invited anywhere, so I just stayed home.
Video viewers is
what
I rolled.
Oh, yeah, I looked up. Wait, what is... I rolled a 69.
I rolled 11, so I guess it's my turn.
Because the internet's favorite number.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu rolls lower dice on a D100 is a success.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be going first. So, or not first, but I'll be giving our little
synopsis.
Quick synopsis. Spoilers ahead for anyone that doesn't want to be spoiled with a 26-year-old movie.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess just real quick for you going in there, if this is your first episode, we set a 30-minute timer where it's just free game. We're going to talk all about it. As Hop said, super spoilers all ahead. And then after that, Hop has questions.
Okay. So, for this movie, basically all you need to know is there is a guy who was murdering people, and a sheriff pulled him over because he was peeing on the side of the road, and he recognized him as a murderer. So ever since then, the sheriff has been getting murder notes from the guy that he got sent to jail. And on the day that this guy was meant to be executed, they got into a car accident because the weather was bad, and there was chemicals in the back of a truck, and it exploded all over the serial killer, to which he melted away and became melted with snow. And right before the car crash, he also learned that he's in the town that he got caught in, so that he begins a murderous rampage through the town as a living, breathing snowman that can change his form between all forms of liquid. And he only has one weakness, but we don't find out about it until we find out that the son wanted to poison his dad accidentally.
Yeah. The tagline is "He's chillin' and killin'." Also, I scrolled down to see, because there are some really dumb quotes that it would be fun to say, but then did you see the first tag for once you go far enough down for storyline?
Yes, I will say there are content warnings for this movie, and that I was not expecting. But also, I was so desensitized by the whole concept of this movie that I was like, yeah, this is going to be what happens, unfortunately. There is not much physically shown, thankfully, but I will say, look up, I think Does the Dog Die usually covers topics like this, so if you have any hankering to watch a movie that calls itself dark comedy, then it's very much in the same line of people that make dead baby jokes. That's the kind of humor that this movie is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, no sense. Well, waiting for it. I'm going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1.
I hated this whole experience. Out of all the movies, I was worried this was going to be another Ginger Dead Man movie, and then
I wish it was.
And I wished it was. It really was trying too hard. I think that's the thing. This movie was trying too hard, and ultimately comes up feeling like a guy going like, you don't get it. It's funny. You just don't have a sense of humor. I'm like, it's not funny when the snowman says, don't eat yellow snow, when nobody ate anything yellow. Yeah. Like, I'll give more context on why he says that, like, if we need context.
You know what it feels like? It really feels like someone watched The Mask from 1994 and was like, what if we did that with Frosty?
Yeah. I didn't watch The Mask because I was creeped out by the animations for getting the mask stuck to Jim Carrey's face. Mm-hmm. So,
I wasn't allowed to watch it when my dad watched it, but I saw bits and pieces because I said, I need to go to the bathroom, and then I watched bits and pieces. And then I think I watched it later. Mm-hmm. I will say, like, to get this conversation going, Uncle Gary, or whatever that dude in the beginning, needs to chill. It's like the beginning of, it's like the prequel to the murder podcast. It was like, Uncle, can you tell me a story? Let me tell you about how this dude murdered everybody. And then it proceeds to tell us the same exact thing. Like, what was the point?
I don't know. To have an annoying, like, fake 3-year-old voice go,
yeah.
He got caught, right?
Yeah.
He didn't kill the little girl, did he?
Watered down Harley Quinn.
It was bad. It was such a long intro for no reason.
Yeah, like, I think it would have just been better if they just found, like, a backtrack and played it so they could show all the names. But they're like, oh, wait, let's do that. Like, it would have made a lot more sense if they literally didn't show us exactly what happened 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, as I said, I like how we have a retelling of the story that we heard at the start. Like, the beginning was completely unnecessary. And so, the other thing that confused me is, like, why does the cop van taking Jack to to the electric chair, all decked out for Christmas.
I don't know. And also, I understand, you should have someone in the back with him to make sure he doesn't do anything sneaky. Don't pick a guy that gets easily pissed off by a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the very beginning of the movie is set up where the two guys in the front are like, haha, Jack, you're gonna die tonight. Who wants roast Jack for dinner? Haha, haha, barbecue Jack, ha, haha.
While they're sharing a seat.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm jealous of him. And the guy's like, why? He's gonna get executed. And he's like, because he doesn't have to drive in this weather. Haha, ha 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 ha. And I was like, wow, they're so funny. And then in the back, you have Jack Frost sitting in handcuffs and the guy observing him, and he's smoking in his face. He's like, can I get a smoke? And he's like, no. And then dies.
I will say, Jack Frost is a good name for a serial killer.
Is it?
I think it fits if he froze people.
Yeah, but he didn't. He kind of just...
He, ate their entrails and put them in pies or something.
Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway. I don't know. The movie was too long. I'll also say that.
I will
Ginger
say,
Dead Man was less than an hour. This probably could have been less than an hour.
Ginger Dead Man was less than an hour?
Yeah, because it was a full hour on Tubi, but then it also had the longest intro and the longest outro.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the runtime, but go on.
I will say one thing. It did, when, what's his face?
It claims it's an hour 15 minutes. I don't think it's an hour 15 minutes, but anyway.
When the sheriff man, when he comes back home and he's going around doing his thing, it's you know what? It does the whole vibe of this does remind me when I lived in a small town in upstate New York, of just how everyone was interacting. There was a few people in the beginning. There's a few people these guys, they're not terrible. The rest of the movie changed that for the majority of them.
I hated the two buddy cops.
Oh, yeah.
You have the main sheriff. The main sheriff's family, totally fine with them. Thought they were a sweet family. I thought he was a good dad trying his best. But yeah, they have his buddy cops, and they're Dumb and Dumber. They're on murder scenes going, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Well,
and then his assistant working at the police station.
Oh, what's her name?
Does she have a name?
Was it Sally?
Sally sounds possible. But Sally also sounds like the name of his wife.
No, Sally was the person who was I always wanted to be on top of the Christmas tree. And it's oh, okay. Well, we know how you're dying. Yeah, I was
thanks for telegraphing your death. But then they didn't do it. They didn't do the bit.
Yeah. It was a lot of work. Anne's his wife. She had a name. Was it Marla?
Maybe because she's not credited.
Yes, Marla. It is Marla.
Okay.
Yeah, it's they had all that. And then it was just everyone's oh, we're making our snowmen. And it was so when everyone's making their snowmen, it was oh, is this gonna be all these snowmen around town, and they're not going to be able to tell which one, because it tells you right in the beginning of the movie that Jack Frost is now a snow elemental. And it's it doesn't hide what his whole MO is going to be. But it's I'm sitting there and I'm okay, but is because I'm okay, that'd be a creepy movie where if the town literally has a snowman building contest and literally one of them is a serial killer resurrected.
That'd be too cool of a movie for what this is.
I got it because there's snow. I'm picking.
Yeah, that could have been an interesting twist to it, but we don't even get the reveals of the most precious snowman that they were purposely hiding in the very beginning of the movie, because they kept telling the girl don't peek, we have the competition, no peeking, it's a surprise.
Well, they just killed that family, so it didn't matter.
Immediately.
That whole scene was just to show snow boobs.
Yeah, and the one boyfriend was it's totally not you as a snow woman. I would never.
Yeah, and then it's just like,
Oh, and to
yeah.
tell that joke fucking 4 times. What's the difference between a snowman and a snow woman? That she ain't got, or no, snowballs.
Eh.
Yeah.
I also find it funny how they have the FBI on speed dial, apparently, like from
I
the
hate
radio.
And then my least favorite trope is when the FBI comes and he's like, I can't tell you anything. I'm an asshole, and my job is more important than yours. And and the poor sheriff is like, people are dying. He's like, I know. He's like,
Isn't it cool?
we're gonna have barricades. Your small town is so boring. Okay, well that barricade needs to be here. What do you know? There's a fence there. No, old man got rid of the fence a couple of years ago. He's like, well, okay,
Fine.
fine. Do you have other information to tell me? People are dying. Yeah, I know.
Shut up. Yeah, I'd also, like, I think this movie is the fastest that, like, a bully is taken care of ever.
I know, the idea that family was like, your son killed my son. And he's like, the sheriff makes such a good point. Your son is 2 feet over my boy.
And it's like, it is, I will say, it is a good argument of how big, like, the kid is compared to the sheriff's son. But at the same time, it's like, the absolute bonker story of the snowman pushed him. It's like, no one would believe you. Like,
yeah, clearly the parents are like, he's traumatized and he saw something and he doesn't know what he saw, so we're just gonna take care of our son.
yeah, how sharp is that stinking sled that it beheaded a kid? Like, it was so weird because the kid's like, look at me go on my sled, and then like, and then it's just,
I know.
Wow.
All the deaths were like, there was something missing to each of them for me to actually think they were funny. Like Bloodbeat, some of those deaths, I was like, nothing makes sense. There's magical whomping noises. I don't know what's happening, but that death is an interesting take on a death from a samurai.
yeah, I feel like the problem is like the limits of Jack Frost aren't really well defined, because it's just like,
All of a sudden, he has a new superpower.
yeah, it's like, oh, I'm stuck into, I'm in a corner. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because that's what I wrote. So I'm like, so Frost has the ability to teleport now? Or is he just invisible until, like, murder time? Like, is it just so because it's weird because, like...
Are you talking about specifically the death of the
I'm going to talk about the
lady?
family death right now. Well, it's like, it's even weirder because, like, he's literally standing in front of the dad talking to him. Just like, yeah, that's right, killed your son, whatever. And he's just like, who is that? And he's like, yeah, pull your axe out. You can't do it. It's like, just like egging him on. And it's like, you can't, like, I understand it's like, oh, you can't believe that the snowman's there. But it's like, the fact that it's like, you didn't have like any thought process of, why is a snowman here? It definitely wasn't here. I didn't
build this.
Yeah.
And the mom was also not concerned at all about a snowman being in her front yard. She's like, oh, son, you made such a good snowman. And he's like, I didn't build it. She's like, well, someone's got to put a face on it. It's like, you know your family, you know your husband's at a job, you were at the groceries, and your son's been here making poison in your kitchen. Like, if
nobody knows it's poison yet. She's making a mess.
She does consistently say, oh, yay, special stuff. Can you do anything else?
Yeah. It's like, I want to be supportive, but oh my gosh, stop making a mess. I'm pretty sure once it revealed, like, what that kid was, like, using to cook, he should have been dead.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of things in there that, like, towards the end of this, I was like, I think everybody should be dead. But yeah, so Jack Frost's powers change anytime you're like, oh, I guess they figured out how to deal with them. He's like, psych, I have a new power you didn't even realize.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is annoying. The only death scene that I thought was entertaining was the lady who said she wants to be on top of the Christmas tree. Because they had, like, a white oven mitt in slow motion, wrapping lights around her, and then in slow motion, her being upright, and then in slow motion, them going, all right, we're going to slam your head into some ornaments, and her going, wow, wah, and then coming up with like shattered ornaments on her face, and her going wah, coming back.
Yeah, it's the equivalent. Like her death is the equivalent of, the Jurassic World lady that gets eaten by like 8 different dinosaurs, and it's like, what? Like she didn't do anything wrong. Like,
Yeah. Also, Jack Frost specifically says he's out there to get the sheriff's family. He could.
Yeah.
He already had a chance to go after the kid. The kid had his hand in his like sharp teeth mouth, and he was like, "I protect the kid."
It's like, not yet. I need to
make him suffer.
I need to, because like I don't know. I could make sense if his whole thing was like, I want to ruin this sheriff's life, but then it's
not
like,
what he said?
I know it's not what he said. He's like, I'll find a way. It's like, maybe they watched like Jurassic Park as well, because life found a way or whatever. Yeah. But I will say something that did make me laugh going back to the beginning, when it's like he gets sprayed with the acid and he's like becoming one with the snow, and then has like that 2 to 3 frame animation of like Christmas magic that's just like snow combining with DNA, and it's just like, what the heck is this? And then it's like, that was it.
Oh yeah, but then the witness was like, FBI man, will you talk to me about what I saw? And he's like, come with a walk with me, son. And he's like, okay, will you help me up? And he's like, no.
I'm pretty sure that driver died.
Yeah, because that guy said what? When Jack Frost got hit by the acid, he tried to run away, but he had no legs.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so there were a lot of deaths. How are we doing on time?
We're about halfway.
So the only other things I'm going to add real quick, just so we remember everything.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that my least favorite part of the movie, the most confusing part of the movie to me was the couple.
Yes.
Why were they outside the sheriff's house?
Why did they think they want to go? Why are they going to go bone when they know everyone's like supposed to be under
like lockdown?
Not house, yeah, lockdown
curfew.
And everything.
But yeah,
and the thing is, like she doesn't even.
Why the sheriff's house?
I don't know.
Did I miss something? And they started stealing things from the sheriff's house. They started stealing champagne, and they started stealing, like, using their electricity when they weren't home. But they knew it was the sheriff's house, because the boy gets scared. He's like, Sheriff, I'm not a robber. I'm one of the kids in town.
Yeah.
Why would he be in the sheriff's house?
Well, like, even in the beginning, he's like, why are we doing this? And he's like, it'd be funny. And it's like, why?
For who?
Like, it's... There's something that doesn't make sense at all, except like I just imagined they did not have a budget for another set piece.
Yeah, like they couldn't have another house, but they did have. Well, I guess she couldn't have sex in her own house because there were 2 murders. Because
they're all dead.
Oh yeah, I did think it was funny when she's like, "I'm leaving." He's like, "What are you doing, dressed like a woman of the night?" When earlier the lady was like, "My husband's usually not got such a short temper." I'm like, the first introduction we have of this man is, "Don't touch the snowman. Yeah. Don't look at my snowman."
That couple reminded me of the couple from Blood Beat, with the waterbed couple, except the wife is way too kind-hearted and not ornery enough at the husband just yelling. I wouldn't have a doubt that there was a waterbed somewhere in that house. But yeah, so they go and do that, which it's like,
bathtub scene was awful.
Yeah, and it like doesn't make, like, there's so many things that don't make sense, where it's just like it makes it look like she's waving while she's getting
there's
murdered.
A random person doing patrols.
It doesn't even show who that person. It's just some dude that shows up.
And then he randomly walks away in one of the end scenes, like not looking at the camera. And I was like,
yeah,
who is he?
There's the guy that just walks out and he's like, I guess this is what I got to do. And it's like everyone closes the door. I don't know, but you said there was another. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
They wouldn't let in the receptionist and the cop that's been trying to date her when they were like locked up the building.
Yeah, it's like,
just like,
your house or mine? My house. Oh yeah. It's like, what? But you said there was another thing.
There were a lot of things I had problems with. Do you want to just talk about how the son tried to kill his dad?
Yeah.
We still have time.
Yeah.
So, in summary, the son says he has special oats to meet his dad. His dad was like, I'll throw these away. Actually, you know what? I'll put them in my car. There's a whole bunch of struggling and trying to figure out how to defeat Jack Frost, because if you melt him, turns into water and becomes whole again. If you explode a building, it's not hot enough to destroy his molecules. So then but hair dryers are uncomfy for him. And then, if you put him in a furnace, he turns into steam, which then turns into liquid, which then turns into Jack Frost again.
Literally, when they put him in there, like before they started the scene, I wrote down, wait, if Frost can become ice, solid, and can melt liquid, why can't he become steam? And then my next thing, well, that happened quick.
Yeah, it didn't take very long.
And then snow vomit.
Yeah, that's why you don't eat yellow snow. He didn't eat yellow snow. You forced yourself anyway. Regardless.
He forced himself on a lot of people. Anyway.
Warnings. But yeah, so the dad goes, oh, I'll throw my special oats at the snowman monster. And snowman monster is apparently made of viscera. He apparently has guts, even though he can change forms all the time. But is like screaming. And he's like, son, what did you put in the oats? He's like, they're special oats. I put in antifreeze hoping you would never get cold. And I was like, oh God. He cooked with antifreeze.
Yeah. You know what? A lot of people want to say that the modern education system has failed a lot of people. But I haven't heard a lot of people who are cooking say that they were going to put literal car fluids into their cookies.
For daddies.
Yeah. I'm like, this, when he first like held on to it, like, because he was going to throw it out, and then he was like, okay.
He had the voiceover in his head.
Yeah.
I made these special for you, Dad.
And so that's why I was like, okay, is literally the thing that's going to... I was like, this is definitely going to be like the weakness to Jack when he...
Everything was really obvious in this, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, is it literally going to be Christmas magic
Christmas
love?
Spirit.
Yeah, and I was
that
like...
would have been funny.
It would have been... I don't know.
Stupid.
It's the same level of believableness as... Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so then they get all the antifreeze they can possibly get, put it in the bed of a truck, and then the dad, who has an open wound on his chest at this point from fighting Jack Frost, is swimming in it. And I was like, I imagine that can't be good for you. Offline, we were talking about, hey, did you know everything can give you cancer? Mm-hmm. This man probably has cancer, having a bunch of chemicals in an exposed open wound in his chest as he's swimming and fighting the snowman creature.
Do you think he was in the second movie?
I don't know. And then we have the son who is like, Dad, you missed an arm. Again, like you said, the modern education system failing the youth. Immediately gets strangled. So they carry their son like he's like... he's getting baptized.
That's literally what I wrote. I'm like, baptized via antifreeze.
And then they sit there, and I'm like, these people have to go to a hospital. There's a lot of antifreeze that they're like breathing in, essentially.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's the 90s. Cancer didn't exist.
True.
I also say everybody from the first movie that survived apparently is in the second movie.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, antifreeze. Yeah, and then like, yeah, they bury him away, and then the government people come and are just like, what's the problem? You don't have to worry about it anymore. And then all of a sudden,
the bubbling and the antifreeze, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think if there's a few other things, because we got like 8 minutes. So one thing that can... Oh, did you have something?
You go first. I just finished my rant.
So there's one thing that like it confused me a bunch was, why was it so difficult for him to go from liquid to pass through doors to return back to solid, except for just plot reasons?
Yeah, there were a lot of times when it was like instantaneous, and there are other times that were like, oh, we're watching this water pour through the door. We're watching this water pour through the engine of a car into the vent system. Like,
Mm-hmm.
did they want it to be suspenseful? Because it wasn't.
The only thing I could chalk it up to is that Jack Frost is, like, as a person, loves his theatrics, and it's just that is like his whole thing. He just tells jokes the whole time while doing murder, and jokes in the biggest parentheses. I'm too lazy to lift my arms and do it. But throughout all this, it's just like, I think the biggest thing, trying to remember what it, there's, so early on, the merchant dude who's always like 20% off of whatever thing just to get a deal. He sees Jack Frost kill somebody. I forget who he sees kill. Like,
he didn't.
Oh no, he goes.
He walked into the body where the lady got strangled.
Yeah,
and then caught a glimpse of the snowman.
Yeah, and so he's like freaking out, and they're like, "Let's take him to jail." And it's like, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, because he's running around outside punching someone. It's a snowman. It's a snowman.
Yeah, they just drag him off to jail, and then it's like Jack. They're in the police office. They're in there. That's when they find out that heat affects Jack Frost, and they're like, okay, we gotta blow up the entire police. And so they're just setting off like bug spray. It is, and like roach.
No, I think it's her hairspray. Because it's all aerosol cans. Because in the beginning, she's sitting there and she's like.
I thought there was some of that, and then I thought they opened up a janitorial closet. It doesn't matter. It's flammable. Yeah. Yeah. And so like they're doing all that, and then it just confuses me because it's just like, we can't break the. It's like, don't shoot the lock. It will explode. It will explode. The thing. I was like, well, why can't they just boom the window? It's like, just punch the window. I've done it.
Because it won't have a perfect seal for the explosion.
It didn't have a perfect anyway. But anyway, they're just they're sitting there. Like, we gotta get the keys and everything, and I'm just sitting there. And I'm like, isn't that guy in jail? And then it's like, are they just gonna blow him up? And then he's like, let me out. And I'm just like,
I'm here.
Yeah. So, yeah, there was that. I also thought it was funny because like there was a lot of scenes where like people's windows were like salted over, except for the driver window, which every time someone was driving and they wanted you to see them, their window was down.
Crystal clear, yeah.
No, it was just the cop car.
It was just
down. Right. Like when Jack's like, haha, I hold a stop sign, and then melts in the course of like 2 seconds, and then is in the cop car.
And steals it and drives away, yeah.
Well, runs him over. It's just like, and no one hears of that dude ever again. Like he's just dead in the woods somewhere.
They said we liked Tweedledee, we didn't like Tweedledum, so we're not gonna.
It's like, we only have room for one twin here.
Yeah, the one thing I just wanted to mention is I really hate the plot point of the FBI making a chemical and meant to combine human DNA with inanimate DNA, quote unquote, in case of a nuclear holocaust. And the scientists coming to the conclusion, don't you understand? Because his soul exists as a snowman, that means the soul is a chemical element we can manipulate. And I was like, oh. I didn't get enough sleep for this.
That's when I wrote, 90s science is fun. Also, what you said reminded me of this TikTok I watched where it's just this dude that just talks about history, and he's like, no, you don't understand. And then he just goes on. I know I've said this before, but it's like, I've been Pavloved. Like, my brain thinks of that anytime I hear, don't you understand, or anything close to it.
That's fair.
Yeah. I also find it interesting that the mom is the only one to notice that the snowman that Frost is no longer in front of his house. Doesn't say anything. She's just like, wasn't the snowman there?
And they're like, no, get in the car. We gotta leave.
She's like, just, I have questions about this, but okay.
And then the guy is just like, you should fix your house like this, and don't forget to do this and do this.
Yeah. Okay. And then it was right after that. That's when they're like, the couple's like, we should do this. It's like, there's no other place we can do it.
Very silly.
Let's see. I'm just scrolling through my notes to see if there's anything else that is worth bringing up. Oh yeah. Well, you want to guess? Well, seeing what I just said of like how she noticed that the mom noticed that Frost was gone, and then it's like I have one line here. Well, I guess we can see where this is going. And it says the couple was in the house the after boyfriend dies. So, let's see. There's like so many of my notes where it's just like, isn't this person here? And then the next thing is like, oh, there he is, or oh, that was fast, or that happened.
I like this review of the movie. I'll let you read that one out loud.
Jack Frost moves more on the DVD cover than he does in the movie. That reminds me. That reminds me so much of something. I remember this movie so much because I never watched it until this week, but I've seen it every time I went into Blockbuster, and I saw it every time. That just triggered the memory for me because it was like you walked past and it looked like a snowman, and then it turned up like as you would walk by, and like I would look at it every time because I remember watching the 1998 Jack Frost with the one that were like, this isn't the right one, with whatever his face is, Batman.
Oh, the Christmas Jack Frost.
Yes.
Where it was actually like,
yeah,
he was actually a snowman that like for kids, not just
and
like.
So like in my head, not knowing the timeline that this came out first, which now I'm wondering is like, did they get funding because everyone got confused thinking it was the other movie? Anyway, it's but like younger me always was like, oh wait, is that the sequel to the other Snowman movie I watched? Is it like,
Oh no.
I'm like, it's like, because like as I got older I forgot about it, but it's just like it's one of those things. I'm like, me just sitting there and just like, this has to, is he mad because he didn't get more time with the son and now he had to come back and murder him? I don't know. Or is there like an evil version of him? But yeah, it's yeah, there was I also wrote that we made a mention. It was like, what's with that dude with the marshmallows? Is the one that just like walks away from, like, he walks out. There's so many things where it's just like, if I part of me just sometimes I just want to know like what was going on in the filming of this. Let's see, our time's up, but I was just looking at the trivia stuff.
Yeah.
So apparently, while the movie was shot in the winter, it was during a drought year, so there was no snow on the ground. And according to the actor Scott McDonald, who is who's Jack Frost, he said like the temperatures got up to like 70 degrees. Oh. And the foam and cotton swabs had to be used as snow substitutes.
It makes sense with some of it. Like the bathtub, I was like, this is like the weirdest fake snow I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. This movie was shot in 18 days.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first acting, Shannon, this was her first acting role, as you said. I don't remember if it was on or off camera. And it's like, and her first nude scene. I'm like, oh, cool.
It's her premiere movie. I mean,
yeah,
like,
she premiered everything. The next line, it says, she filmed this before she got breast implants that she revealed in American Pie. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Cool, I guess. Apparently, one actor who read for the role of Jack Frost pulled a knife out at his audition.
Hey, that's one way to get into character.
I don't think, yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything here that would like the 22 shot in 18 days, like
It really answers a lot of questions.
yeah. The film initially was going to be an action thriller set in a bigger city with CGI, with the CGI Jack Frost, directed by Rennie Harlin, who, let's see, what did he direct? He directed Cliffhanger, Cutthroat Island. Okay. More actiony movies. With a $25 to $30 million budget. And then when Greena Davis, Harlan's girlfriend at the time, read the script, and she thought it was the worst thing she ever read and wanted him to do Cutthroat Island instead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we are getting towards the 50-minute mark if you're ready to answer some questions.
Yeah, I don't see anything here. Apparently the scene that we're all like, why was supposed to just be being smashed against the wall, and then when they were editing, the editor's like, you do know what this looks like, right? And then they're like, well, rather than reshooting the scene, they just went with it.
Uncomfy.
Yeah, and so the only thing that did go is Jack Frost making a bad sex puns. Just to fit the continuity.
Uncomfy. All right. I don't want to end on that note, so some questions for you. Were you rooting for anyone to make it to the end of the movie?
Well, I didn't see any pets, so I was hoping that the general store owner man who's just like 20% off of this. I'm like, he won my my vote. Yeah, I was like
I kind of liked the main family.
I did like them too. Yeah.
Otherwise, I didn't care about anybody else in this town.
Yeah, it's like the cop felt like a real person. Like the sheriff, like out of a town of like crazies, him and his family felt like a real person.
Yeah, and like they were actually just trying to be, instead, like she was constantly like, you should have thrown away the ransom letters and the murder letters, and he's like, but it's all stuck in my head. And they're like, let's protect our son from the truth and just like, try and make things easy on him. So yeah, they were sweet. Okay, would you consider this more a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
I think it's too stupid to be a Halloween movie.
Yeah, like it's not, the murders are really forgettable for me, and there's no sense of tension.
It legitimately feels like a movie that you see that comes out the first week of December, that is a horror movie, that they're just like, we need something to fill this time spot in the theaters.
In the theaters, yeah. And so then I think we both can agree on this next one. Do you think the movie could have taken place without it being during Christmas? I don't think so.
No, and it would have to be a completely different setting. Like it did say it was in Colorado according to the plates and everything.
I wasn't even paying attention to that much.
I don't know. It's just, I was asking like, where is this even located? And that's when I saw the plates were in Colorado. I don't think they necessarily say it's in Colorado, but
it's, what's the town called? It's like Snowdown or Snow. There's something really cheesy.
Let's see. Snowmonton or something. Yeah, but no,
also doesn't sound like a real place at all.
But I will say it does feel like if it was gonna take any point in any part of the year, like if it was like set in Antarctica or like Canada or something.
At that, yeah. Which reminds me, there's another horror movie I've been meaning to watch. But if I was gonna watch a horror movie set in Antarctica, I would just watch 30 Days of Night. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched that yet, but
it's fun. Like, we don't have to get into that.
Yeah, it's fine. So does this meet your criteria for a Christmas movie? I believe yes. Oh wait, there's no Santa.
There is no Santa. There is no Christmas moral.
The Christmas moral is make your dad antifreeze for a snack while he's at work.
Okay, I'll let you know how that goes because I work with my dad.
Merry Christmas, Dad! I made you special oats.
And this
and
is how
a Ziploc baggie.
Yeah, that's. Anyway, nah, because like it definitely had Christmas music. It definitely had Christmas decorations. The time, like it had.
It was Christmas.
It was It was definitely set in Christmas. I can't really call it a. The movie, I don't think, as we said, can be set in any other time besides Christmas. The way it's going, like even if it was in another station, but it's just like in Hollywood media, you don't make snowmen like in any snowy area for whatever time of the year. It's always like a Christmas themed thing, at least in America. But no, I have a hard time saying it's a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. So it's just a movie that is set in Christmas.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I guess by, what was it? What's our chart that we have? We have the...
Yeah, I think it's like probably 3 out of 5 of our points.
Yeah, because it takes place during the Christmas season. It has Christmas music. It has Christmas decorations. Santa doesn't appear. And, like, yeah. I mean, the only other moral you could have is don't arrest people, or they might come back as evil snowman to come and kill your whole family in town.
Sometimes.
Then final question for you. What is your overall rating for this movie?
I should really start thinking about that before we get to the actual question. I'm going to give it a 2. Or a 3. Or like, I don't know. It's not high.
Can I give it a 1?
It's your score. Like,
so what's our average?
1.2.
1.25?
1.2.
Because, like, I like this less than I liked Blood Beat. And Blood Beat has a 1.5.
Has a 1.5? Yeah, they're going to give it a 1.2.
Just a 1.2. And then, what is it? Ginger Dead Man has a 2. I also like Ginger Dead Man more than this.
It's... We're contractually obligated never to really say it, but in my head it's like, what if this was all taking place in the cell?
You're contractually obligated to mention the cell once per episode.
Yeah, once per saga story arc, that collection of episodes.
Yeah, I'm never allowed to forget about Twizzler suits.
I can't forget about Twizzler suits. I saw that when I was like right out of high school.
It's ingrained in your memory.
And it's like that's all I remember. It was that and the horse scene. That's all I remembered of that movie. And then I wish I didn't remember everything now.
But yes, so I guess that concludes our discussion of Jack Frost.
Thank goodness.
I hope you all had a good time. It's hard to fit in how bad how interesting a movie is in such a short discussion. Next week we get to watch The Elf, which is from 2017. Oh, I thought this was the older one. Oh, Santa Claus. That's the really old movie we have to watch to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. Wait, The Elf came out then?
When I hover over the link,
yeah,
it says
2017. Some of these screenshots look like it came out in like the 80s. But, yeah, that should be fun. I'm also kind of glad that I think Blackjack Jack Frost was one of his other options. It was neither Knight or Blackjack had Jack Frost as one of the other options, and I'm like, I'm glad they didn't take that.
Yeah, that was something we should not subject onto other people.
Yeah, Bloodbeat was one where like, hey, by the description, we didn't know it was gonna have all that.
Yeah, it was like that one had like artistic attempts though. Like I can give it some credit there. But in any case,
yeah, it'd be interesting rating these after we watch them all.
I don't think any of my ratings have changed looking at the comparisons between them.
Like in the
Necrotronic might get a 4 out of me now.
Yeah, Necrotronic might creep up a little bit higher because it's like, well, anyway. So, yeah, so next week, as you said, we're talking about the elf. And yeah, wow, it's crazy to think how far on this list of recording, and then just it's October. But anyway, everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you guys like this, check out we're on YouTube. We're on, I think, most podcast forums. If you want to leave some form of review, that's cool. You know, the normal shilling of, hey, help us reach out to others because we don't have money to pay to market. So this is our marketing. It'll be like PBS. This was shared by viewers like you.
I set up a math roll to see the average movie rating we've given the movies. Our average rating for all the movies we've watched in the series, one of the episodes not released yet, is a 4.3375.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you look at it, you wouldn't think about that because
we have a couple 6 and 7s.
Yeah, so it will be interesting when can the later half of this pull it out of to be fair, it's about an average rating.
I think we've watched the best movie on our list already.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that is it. Thank you everyone for watching, listening, whatever. We will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.